Hello and welcome to Cooking with Corona.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. We're going to be looking at two different fire cider preparations. Our first, more of a traditional fire cider, and then one that's very South Florida specific.
So if you don't know what a fire cider is, it's usually made with apple cider vinegar. It's used as an immune tonic. You can take it daily, you can take it when you feel like you're getting sick, you can even take it while you're sick. And what it is it's just basically all of the wonderful vitamins and nutrients of all of these foods, which food is medicine, condensed into one thing in this solvent in which it's all extracted and made super potent. So it's really wonderful for you and your immune system. It's safe for children, it's safe for elderly, depending on how spicy you make it, which you're welcome to not make it spicy at all. But that being said, our first one that we're going to do is going to be a more like normal fire cider.
Yeah. So first one, more traditional fire cider. These are going to be staples that hopefully we all still have access to in our local grocery stores. And with a few things that fortunately South Florida can provide to us as far as fresh produce goes, like turmeric root and ginger. And
Thank you, Little River Co-op.
Yeah, Little River, shout out. And then we have, something like a Cuban oregano, which is also pretty specific to South Florida and the tropics. But this preparation is so great because it's so simple and anyone can make it. We are literally going to be taking the ingredients in front of us today, chopping them up, putting them into this jar, covering it with apple cider vinegar, and topping it. And that is fire cider.
There you go.
So welcome. Yeah.
And just before we get started, if you don't have access to fresh versions of these herbs, any kind of just like spice rack jar of oregano, thyme, sage is going to be just fine. Even powdered turmeric, it's whatever you can do. Even if you don't have fresh cayenne, feel free to use powdered cayenne. You don't have to spend $1 million. You don't have to go out searching in the middle of a pandemic for fresh everything. You just work with what you got.
Exactly. And there are multiple variations to this. So as we're using things, if you don't have access to something that maybe is an ingredient that we're using today, doesn't matter. Leave it out. Find something else.
Right.
Essentially, the fire cider is going to be like the vinegar, but like super potent version of maybe even broth making that we'll talk about at another time. But for today, zero pressure on ingredients. This is not like a hardcore recipe preparation. It's you following your gut, you understanding flavors that you prefer for your body, or maybe things that your body is craving, or you have specifics that you're trying to address.
Right.
So you might use things that are more tonifying or things that are more nutritive, just different things that are going to be appropriate to you as an individual or your family or whatever.
Because it is your medicine, so you want to make sure that it's going to be a flavor that you're going to enjoy so that you'll actually take it.
Right.
And at the core of fire cider, it's really, garlic, onion, and apple cider vinegar. That's really the heart of it. Everything else is just super wonderful and helpful to have around it. So.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
Ready?
I'm so ready.
Let's chop. Do you want to maybe talk about some of the things that you're chopping up?
Sure. So the first thing that I'm going to chop up is going to be this onion. You can use white onion, red onion, Spanish onion, whatever onion, yellow onion you can get your hands on. It really doesn't matter because the wonderful thing about them is that they all contain quercetin. And quercetin is a really amazing free radical scavenger builder in your body, which helps to keep your immune system up. It actually can also be like anti-cancerous. I say that lightly because, anyway, so that, and then also we have the garlic, same thing, also contains quercetin as well as allicin.
Yes. So we have turmeric here. This is going to be a fantastic ingredient. Thank you, curcumin. Yeah, curcumin, cool. You'll see it oftentimes powdered form, bright yellow. They also sell pills
stains
now.
Everything.
Yes, stains
so be
everything.
careful.
Yeah,
unless you really like oranges and yellows. And,
yeah,
which I do.
Yeah. You know, this is a really casual maker space for herbal medicine, but know that if you're like chopping it up on something that you really care about,
it's gonna be dyed.
Yeah, it's gonna change colors. Yeah. So we have our turmeric, which will also probably add a little bit of black pepper to our preparation, since we're including turmeric, which allows a lot of the nutrients of the root to become more bioavailable to your body.
That's because of a wonderful little friend called piperine, which is in pepper, which kind of opens up the curcumin like receptors for our body.
Thank you, Piperaceae family.
Yes, thank you.
And then we're also going to be using ginger, and this is such a cool version of a ginger root. Like, that's bigger than my hand.
Kind of looks like pants.
Yeah, it does kind of look like pants. This is a really cool medicine to be using as well, just for circulation, for stimulation, your immune system in general. It does promote heat, I will say. So if anyone is premenopausal, menopausal, maybe watch your intake or inclusion of this particular plant. But we'll definitely be including ginger. Oh man, there was something else I wanted to say about ginger, but maybe it will come to me later. Anyways, oh, I remember, that was fast. There are invasive ginger species to the subtropics and the tropics. So while this may not be the case in Miami specifically, there are gingers that you can harvest in the wild, especially things or ginger varieties. One of the common names is butterfly ginger. The flower and the root are edible. Hawaii has massive populations of them. I'm gonna shout out to Sunny Savage right now, because she also has created a really beautiful wild foods app where you can geotag locations. You find the kahili ginger, the butterfly ginger in the wild, and there's recipes and all sorts of things that you can do with that specific ginger root as well, in addition to an available plant monograph, which is really fun, that I got to work with her on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That being said, also just like if you're ever gonna forage anything or go, wildcraft, just make sure that you do know what it is that you're picking up.
Absolutely.
Because there are a lot of leaves that may look like ginger leaves and they're not ginger leaves. And then there are actually some kind of gingers that if you mix with a vinegar base can actually become toxic.
Yeah.
So you also want to know exactly what it is that you're working with. So
yes, the lookalikes.
Yes, exactly.
Always be aware of the lookalikes. And then when going out to forage, I definitely recommend first-time foragers to go with a teacher or some kind of guide. And
who knows your land.
Yeah, knows your land and also knows like ethical foraging rules. So while these aren't laws that, we'll get in big trouble for, I think that there's a karmic trouble that we might get into if you start to like pull things where maybe your hands shouldn't be, or at this point you've decimated an entire population of something.
Right.
Or
that being said, don't go out and wildcraft everything. I mean, I don't know if the coronavirus has maybe we'll eventually get to that point where we're all living in the woods and then we need to identify everything. But until that day comes, maybe just support your local farmer.
Yes.
So the next one that we have here, we've got thyme, and then we've got sage. Both are actually going to be really antimicrobial, antibacterial. Thyme especially is really antiseptic, and it has a really nice affinity to the respiratory system, which is highly affected by this whole thing that's going on. And like just a lot of illnesses tend to be in our respiratory system. And then
sage also astringent.
Yes.
Sage is can be tonifying as well to some bodies. Sage, and there's so many uses to a majority of these plants. We're specifically talking about their application through fire cider. But I mean, like sage being an example, you can do, and it's given Corona, sage is amazing for steams, herbal steams.
Thyme as well. Yeah, any
thyme,
of those really
rosemary.
aromatic herbs are going to be great. So if you are dealing with a respiratory thing, a steam.
Or baths, if that's your preferred mode of steaming, because it's essentially like kind of similar vibes. Yeah, but great for your respiratory system to get up in there, to break stuff up,
clear it out,
clear it, tighten it, and just start, to bring you back into your health.
And get rid of any kind of funk that you have going on. So we also have rosemary here.
Yes.
So kind of the same properties, yeah. So it'll get up in there and kind of rid of any bacteria that you have that could be like leftover, like residual kind of thing that you're dealing with, or if you have something oncoming, or if you're just like full blown in it, any of these herbs are going to be really wonderful for it.
For sure, yeah.
And then we have celery, which neither of us have used celery in a fire cider before, but like, why the hell not? What's nice about this is like you can literally just pick all of these wonderful green things that you love and just throw it in there, because if it's green, it's good. That's not a rule to live by. But so celery itself is really wonderful for pulling out toxins. So there was that whole celery juicing craze. The whole reason why that was so wonderful was because it was literally detoxifying the shit out of you. Literally, I think everybody was like getting diarrhea in the morning, which was like a little bit of diarrhea is not bad. That means a little extra cleanse. It's like not pooping. It's like alarm. Like diarrhea. It's like okay.
Yeah. What's up here? Yeah. So we also have included carrots here and cayenne peppers. We talked a little bit about cayennes, or Justine mentioned spice for sure. So choose your level. And then for carrots, I mean, vitamin A, full of vitamins, great for your eyes, great for your skin. But what's kind of cool about including fire cider and, carrots and celery in our fire cider, and again, to touch on something that I mentioned a little earlier, was like a lot of these ingredients can be used potentially in broth as well, which is something that's, great for fighting infection, virus, illness in general.
Boosting that immune system up.
So as we're chopping stuff, while we are doing it specifically for fire cider, it is equally as easy to chop things, put them into a pot, cover it with water instead of apple cider vinegar, and then put it over a stove for a few hours.
Yeah, as many hours as you want.
Yeah. And then again, it's a straining process, so by the time the fire cider is ready, this is a no heat added fire cider, so we're gonna let things slow infuse over the next few weeks, see how it goes, and then strain it from there. The soup is similar. So if you're using things like, as we pull off some of the outer onion skins of the onion, even though we could put the whole thing into the fire cider, actually, we could use the outer skins of the onion in our veggie stock, and then strain that and not necessarily need to ingest it, but still.
Waste nothing. Everything has use. All skins, all insides, everything can serve a purpose. You just gotta make a big hodgepodge of it and just add heat, and then you're good.
Scrap class.
Welcome to
scrap class.
What's nice about using the apple cider vinegar is that it does increase the shelf life. Like with broths, you freeze them, you can have them in the freezer for a long time. This you can literally, this is your preservative right there.
Right. Stable, and also no refrigeration required necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna get to chopping.
Here
But first, we're gonna wash our hands.
Yeah.
All right, so we finished roughly chopping up everything, And so this is gonna be your beautiful layering. You can see you've got those purple carrots at the bottom with the sage, then you've got your onion, your turmeric all throughout there, all of your other herbs, celery, thyme, rosemary, then you've got your more carrots, ginger. Anyways, how gorgeous is that? I think it looks amazing. And it smells amazing, and Evelyn even went ahead and tested our cayennes, and it's definitely gonna be a little spicy, so.
But it's good.
But it's good. I'm a little scared. I'm
gonna get warm, sweat it out.
I'm gonna be crying.
Sweat it out.
But it's okay, it's good to cry.
You know, that's great to cry.
Cathartic, yeah.
This is like, you know, the time of quarantines and purging.
Yes.
So welcome.
Yeah. To the ultimate body purge. You're gonna sweat, you're gonna cry, you're gonna feel great.
Your fireside future.
Yeah.
Right here.
This is what you get.
Yeah. So I'm gonna pour over our apple cider vinegar.
So that's it. It's that easy. Stuff it all into a jar. Pour apple cider vinegar all over it.
Oh, we were talking about chopping. Do you want to talk about bioavailability and chopping?
Sure.
Yeah.
So chopping stuff up like that is just going to increase the bioavailability, meaning that whatever kind of alkaloids are in there that are medicinal, it's going to allow them to breathe, and it's going to allow the apple cider vinegar to pull it out a little bit better. I just had deja vu.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we got backup. Never be without apple cider vinegar in your home. You know, it's a wonderful fermentation that part of your immune system is also keeping a healthy microbiome. And a lot of our immune health comes from our microbiome. Our microbiome is the bacteria in our gut. So when you're taking things like probiotics, prebiotics, that's what you're feeding.
Yep. Kitchen staple apple cider vinegar for sure.
Yep. You can never have too much.
Yeah, and it'll be, maybe we'll do it for another time, but running with the theme of the scrap class, we have also made some vinegars. So I have a mango and a banana vinegar that I've made from the fruit meat. And if we wanted to get real local with it, we could use, instead of apple cider vinegar, one of the fruit vinegars as a base for the fire cider. Not that it needs to be apple cider specific, but it's a fantastic vinegar option.
So if you're stuck inside and you have a fruit tree in your house or in your neighborhood nearby that you can go and pick, you can start to make your own vinegar because
ferments.
Yeah.
You want to give it a shake?
Super easy. So then you take it, la, 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 la. Shake it up, make sure that it gets every part of it, and then now you.
We're just putting our juice into it.
Right.
This is like our energy right now. Okay.
And so throughout the week, every time you walk past this, you're gonna want to give it a shake. Like if you're even just like in the kitchen, you're like, ooh, my apple cider vinegar, fire cider. I'm gonna shake it up really quick. That way, you just want to make sure that everything gets saturated.
Beautiful.
It's gorgeous. It looks so pretty. And also what's nice about this is that you can use it as like a salad dressing even. So if you don't, if it's like unbelievably tasty and you love it so much, put that shit on everything, you know?
In soup. As a spoonful. In salad dressings.
In shots. In
marinades.
Yes,
anything you put vinegar into.
Coleslaw, actually. It's really good.
Yeah. Dang. You can get shrubby.
Ooh,
I don't know if you're into like vinegary, fruity drinks, but that is really fun too.
It's endless. You can do so much with this.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to just like constantly have this in your house, you know?
Yeah. Fire cider.
And that's it. This one's done. So now we're gonna put it away.
Yeah.
In a cool, dark place. And let it sit for like 4 or 5 weeks, whatever you feel comfortable with. Go ahead and open it up and taste it along the way.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like for sure after 2 weeks, you're definitely, like the vinegar will taste like the infusing has already started.
Right.
The longer you wait, the stronger the infusion will be. Or if you feel like, so typically for me, I'll do like 4 to 8 weeks infusing. If I get really antsy and I want to use it before then, I'll still spoon it out, and then you can always replace it. And then also after you do the initial straining, for whenever you feel like the flavor is spot on with where you want it, or with like if whatever feels good for you, you can pour apple cider vinegar over all of the same material that we just put into that jar to make a second round.
Right.
Like these plants are really potent and they have at least 2 infusions worth in them.
And because we rough chop them, they're still gonna hold a lot of value in them beyond the first round. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a really good point actually, because if we even did a larger chop, like here's an example of a ginger piece. So this is
we probably put one in about this size.
Right.
Not a huge difference, but
yeah. But that's good to know, just because if you put even bigger chunks of things or whole pieces of plants into oil, vinegar, water, whatever, you definitely have more than 2 infusions possible with those plant parts.
Right.
Yeah. Cool.
So now we're gonna move on to our South Florida version of a fire cider.
Yeah.
And here is our scrap bowl. So this is all like the outer layers and just like the pieces that we didn't end up using. And so this is actually gonna be saved and then used into a broth, or you can flip it into a broth. So there you go.
Vegetable stock.
A vegetable stock. So this is again super medicinal. You think that it's just garbage? It's not.
Here we are again.
We're back.
Hello.
Miami, South Florida edition.
So we have again some really beautiful things from Little River Cooperative. Thank you. And we will go over some of the ingredients because they might be new to you, and then we will start to fill our jar to make our South Florida fire cider version.
Right.
Yeah. You want to jump into it?
I'm trying to think of a Spanish fire cider, so huevo cider. I don't know how to say cider in Spanish, but so what do we have? We have again our staples. We've got our thyme. We've got our oregano. We've got our ginger, our garlic, our turmeric. So the same ones that we used in the past. So instead of onion this time, we are going to use these big old bad boys.
This is a chive. This is a massive chive. I've seen these used as ornamentals actually in people's yards.
They're beautiful.
But Little River has some growing in their example garden at the nursery, and they were looking epic when we were doing some harvesting.
They called to you.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? Let's do a local allium. Allium is the plant family that onions are a part of. Garlic is also a part of that family. So this will be our onion alternative for this particular fire cider. But we also have some really sweet lemon drop peppers.
Not sweet at all.
Not sweet, tangy, spicy. We were also pre-warned about these guys. We have some dried orange peel.
So your vitamin C right there.
Yep, vitamin C. This is good. I mean, we're using some things that are going to be experiments for us too. So this is a small branch of a plant called Mujin tea, and it has probably an incredible amount of volatile oils.
Definitely,
in
it smells
the leaves.
so good. Anything with that kind of aroma, like that strong of an aromatics, like
Yes. So we'll be including that. We also have some kaffir lime leaves that are also heavy with volatile oils, and they smell fantastic.
Again with this bay rum leaf.
Yeah.
Smells amazing. Again with those volatile oils. What else we got?
Tarragon, spilanthes, moringa, and bronze fennel. And these nasturtium seeds. So I have pickled these seeds before. I don't know if you can see. I'm gonna try and do this. Here's a little tiny seed. So I've pickled these before and eaten them like caper style.
Oh, nice.
Yummy, especially in like salt brine. But they have a little kick to them sometimes, so we're gonna throw them in and see how they do. But we also again have dried black peppercorns.
For our turmeric.
Yeah, our hands. My hands are still yellow from chopping the last little batch of turmeric. Yeah, cumin oregano again.
Then we also did we talk about the Spilanthes?
Mentioned it. But
okay, so then
yeah.
So Spilanthes is a really nice medicinal plant. It's also known as the toothache plant. It is used as a really amazing antifungal. It also has like a numbing property to it. So if you were to like pop one of these bad boys in your mouth, like you would be like weirdly salivating out of like one side for like a couple of seconds. But that being said, it's super antimicrobial and really great. So we're pretty excited to be adding it into this Florida fire cider.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so moringa, in case you didn't know, you might have it growing in your backyard. It's super nutrient dense, a really wonderful thing. You said it was alkalizing?
Yep, alkalizing, high in vitamin and mineral content, essentially like our backyard super green that we can grow here in Miami. Yeah, but a note to the Spilanthes too, as the heads mature, so as they go from like this little cute babe to this big old cute babe.
Conehead.
Yeah. These guys will get stronger.
Yes.
And so if you do decide you want to try one, know that they'll make you salivate like crazy.
Yeah.
Again, the numbing effect, like you might even feel like you need to puke a little bit.
Yeah.
But huge immune system herb. This is something that I like to tincture with like usnea and echinacea.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's my favorite for like general immunity. Yeah.
And usnea, again, super antifungal. They're like fungal friends.
Yes, fungal friends.
Fungal fighting friends.
Let's make some fungal friends.
Yeah. All right, let's do this.
Last night, something came over me.
All right, so we just finished our Florida Fuego cider, and look at that beauty. Oh my God. And it smells
like heaven.
So good. So now that's it. You rough chop.
Here we go.
Give it a shake.
Apple cider. Oh, and while our fire cider sits, we are going to be using metal lids on top of the jars that we have. But you saw me earlier put some paper underneath the lid. And that was just to prevent, I mean, it wasn't just computer paper. Please don't do that. It was waxed parchment paper, specifically to hold the liquids in and to keep the metal and the acid separate from the vinegar.
Because it'll corrode, and then you're going to be sitting there forever trying to get your lid off. And speaking of lid,
we good?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Cool. Ooh. Yep. Parchment paper, lid, and then labels.
Labels. So important. Oh my God.
Include dates. Include ingredients, including your menstruant.
Right.
Yeah. So our apple cider vinegar.
So you literally gonna write everything that you put in here, what you poured over it, and when.
Also, this is very timely. Happy spring equinox.
Woo!
So this is also a kind of an awesome spring offering for us to be putting together as we're stepping into our summertime.
Yeah. Which don't forget, with all this madness that's happening, the earth keeps spinning and things are not halting just because of what's going on. So that shouldn't stop you either from living your best. It looks amazing. I'm so excited.
So beautiful. Thank you for doing this with me.
Thank you for having me. This has been such a pleasure. And if you have any questions or anything, hit us up. Let us know.
Yeah.
If you have your own recipe that you love to do, please tag us in it, send it to us so we can post it. Let's fire cider together.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.